Hi everybody, I am here to do uh, a VR to Blue August and Windora East and November Summer Song. Uh, I'm VRing to the videos named Be the Change. I had asked Blue August, and so thank you so much for letting me have an insight into your journey. Um, I recently had made the decision that I needed to go gluten free. Um, I have to say that Eva Maria from Eva's House of Spirits did a video this morning on um, the biophilic alternative about making connections and taking your practice further and um, how you have to go through each one of these different steps, and I'll let you watch her video. But that's exactly how I came to the understanding I needed to give up gluten, or at least try it. Um, I have an autoimmune illness. It's Hashimoto's thyroiditis. My first symptoms started right in my last pregnancy, when I got pregnancy-induced hypoglycemia. And yes, that is an actual thyroid symptom. From there, I started getting a lot of muscle pains, which later I discovered was fibromyalgia. Yes, that is a thyroid symptom. Um, I went to the doctor and was having severe hot flashes at 23 years of age. And being young and not able to describe to the doctor what was wrong with me, I told him that I was having all the symptoms of menopause. He laughed and said that I was too young and dismissed me. That was the only way I could describe to him the severe hot flashes, night sweats, brain fog, and many other symptoms that I was having. And so he dismissed me until one day I was in there fixing to get a pap smear. I had all three of my children and in the room, and he came in and saw me in the throes of that severe hot flash that I would get. He came rushing over to me and was trying to grab my wrist to take my pulse, and I was slapping at him, and he was saying, "No, you don't understand. You don't look good, and I'm really, really concerned, and I really need you." I said, "I'm just having one of those imaginary hot flashes you say I'm too young to have." I said it with a little bit more vehemence, and I was also profusely sweating, blood red, and slapping at him. Because I was so hot, I didn't even want the touch of his warm hands on my wrist. I didn't want to be touched. And instead, at that moment, instead of taking blood work and instead of trying to figure out what it was, he threw a prescription at me, progesterone. I took that. Um, I quit almost bleeding to death, but I also gained 10 pounds in 1 month. Second month, I gained another 10 pounds. By the third month, I'm calling the doctor and asking and saying, "I can't continue on like this. I'm gaining 10 pounds a month." And he told me that it was not the medication. It couldn't possibly be that hormone. It was me, and I was just eating too much. That was the first of my um, doctors belittling me. I realized that my mother and my grandmother before me had the same kind of female issues, and so I reasoned that both were still alive, and so was my great grandmother, so I was probably going to survive this, and I just threw it in the trash. My heavy cycle came back, and I just sauntered on. But the weight gain stopped, although I never took that 30 pounds off. I gained 10 pounds a month for the 3 months that I was on that medication. When I went back to my family doctor for something, I told him that I was extremely tired. I was very fatigued. My body hurt everywhere, and I was giving him my thyroid symptoms, and I knew enough that it was thyroid symptoms. He told me that there was nothing wrong with me. I was just fat and lazy, and that it didn't matter that my mother was a thyroid patient, and it didn't matter that my grandmother was a thyroid patient, and it didn't matter that my great grandmother was a thyroid patient. Thyroid was not genetic. Well, after being told I was nothing but fat and lazy, I decided that I wasn't going back, ever. I paid him $86 that day to tell me that I was nothing but fat and lazy. So I continued on like that, and it took a long time, and then I thought, I think it was many years that I went through, and I said, I can't really be angry with him for calling me fat and lazy, even though I wasn't lazy by any means, but I had never done anything to for my health, ever. I was all about my children's health. I had worked with my oldest daughter who was ADHD, changed her eating, took sugar out of the diet, did so many different things, treated her ADD only with nutrition and exercise, and still my issues persisted. Well, at that time, I was throwing in a lot of wheat germ for natural B vitamins and a lot of other things going into our diet, which I didn't realize was actually worsening my condition. So years went by, and my first thing that I had learned about wheat was my ex-husband's aunt was the first one to put herself through law school. First person to go to college in their family. They were from a poor family, and she put herself through UT and law school. And when she did that, she went and became a vegetarian. Now, she didn't become a vegetarian because she wanted to live a healthier lifestyle or do anything like that. She couldn't afford meat, so she went vegetarian. But in that process that she did that, she became clinically depressed. And kudos to the doctors of yesteryear, because they immediately made the association to her wheat intake to her clinical depression as an allergic symptom of the ingestion of wheat. She got off all wheat, and her clinical depression cleared up. So clinical depression is also another symptom of a wheat intolerance. And from there, my next encounter was my daughter has a lot of allergies. And this is from her father. Not from me, I thought. I don't have a lot of allergies. And she's allergic to all kinds of tree pollens and all kinds of stuff. In the process of all this, she had skin problems, and she, in Austin, found out that she had a lauryl sulfate allergy. Now, this brought about a situation with my mother who had had chronic cystitis for over 30-something years. And that was from her lauryl sulfate sensitivity. She loved baths and she loved bubble baths, and lauryl sulfate was in all of it. She also had extremely thinning hair, and lauryl sulfate is in all of your shampoos and conditioners and body washes and soaps and all of these different things. Lauryl sulfate can be found in a wide variety of body products, things that you would take care of your personal hygiene with. Lauryl sulfate does not show itself as traditional allergy symptoms either. So I still, I thought, well, thyroid can make your hair thin, but my mother's was excessively thin. So she had two strikes against her thyroid problem and the other issue with the lauryl sulfate. So my daughter and my mother both went lauryl sulfate free. Then I developed an allergy to purple. You say, how do you develop an allergy to purple? Well, purple eyeshadow was my favorite color for my eyes because my eyes are green. And when I put purple eyeshadow and eyeliner on, it makes my eyes pop. And I love that. And after years of wearing purple, I no longer can wear purple eyeshadow because I got severe contact dermatitis that would happen immediately upon putting the purple on. And it presents itself almost like a yeast infection on the skin, and also makes my eyes severely bloodshot for at least 3 days while I am coming off of the allergy that is actually happening to me. Now, of course, I was in denial because I wanted to wear purple. And I rebought my makeup thinking it was contaminated. I rebought all kinds of stuff. I went and I bought every single brand. I bought expensive brands. I bought cheap brands. Well, guess what? The only brand I can wear that I have found so far, because I'm sure there's other natural ones out there, was a brand called Pacifica, and it was found at my Sprouts, and it is a natural eyeshadow made with natural ingredients to color it. The reason for the purple, allergic to purple, was red dye. Purple is the most highly allergenic color out there because it contains the most red dye. But now I can't wear any color that has any red dye in it. That led me to think, what is red dye doing to me internally in my body? Big Red used to be one of my favorite drinks. It was Diet Big Red, but Big Red. How much red dye do you think is in that sucker? So I quit drinking Big Reds, but I did not really go through and really go red dye free. Now I am. Then I made the, lauryl sulfate. I'm the link. I'm the missing link here, and I have thinning hair. I do have thyroid disease, but I better watch my lauryl sulfate. If my daughter has it, and there are other people in my family that have skin sensitivities. My grandson, both my grandsons from 2 different daughters, have eczema on the skin. Another sign that there's some chemical, probably lauryl sulfate, that is the culprit to that. So in going through all of that, I ran across a lady not that long ago called Terry Wahls. This is the book, The Wahls Protocol. Dr. Terry Wahls is a doctor who had multiple sclerosis. And her multiple sclerosis was so severe that she was in a reclined wheelchair, had already taken chemotherapy, and was still in decline. The chemo hadn't slowed it down a bit. And that's when she was scouring the internet, like I do as well. And she came across a few principles. And she incorporates paleo principles that she has modified for the illnesses of autoimmune. And she is one of only 2 people in the United States to reverse multiple sclerosis. She is now perfectly able to walk, perfectly able to function as a doctor in full. Her Wahls protocol, one of the things in there is gluten-free. The reason for the gluten is a suspect. It is the number 1 suspect in causing autoimmune illnesses. She says certain conditions have to set up. You have to get sick with something, like say the flu. You have to have stress probably going on in your life. Your B vitamins are probably severely compromised. And the gluten leaks through somehow through the gut and gets into the bloodstream. And there is the deadly combination that sets off the immune system to start fighting. Now, I already knew that gluten could cause the clinical depression. And I also knew that autoimmune, like my thyroid, I'll use my thyroid as an example, that they don't believe that the immune system now has gone crazy. They believe that there is something embedded in the tissue that when you get stressed, causes it to flare up, sort of like if you get chicken pox. Chicken pox lays dormant in the nerves, the nerve endings, and if you, later on in life, have a condition of stress and a lot of things come up, it can rebloom. And when it reblooms, it becomes shingles. And shingles can reflare at any time with certain key conditions that set up. Certain foods can also trigger a shingles attack, and that's anything that is heavy in L-arginine, which is an amino acid. Watermelon is a common culprit of that. It can also bring on cold sores and stuff like that, which is all the herpes virus itself, and it can bring up flares like that. Well, the protocol was making sense to me when they thought that there was some kind of suspect material that was the immune system was really after, but it was destroying your tissue, and it's in place of it, but it's really after the foreign invader that is embedded there. If you get one autoimmune illness, then that means that you are susceptible to every and all autoimmune illnesses that there are. And right now there are 121 autoimmune, I think she said, Dr. Wahls said, and 140 more fixing to go down as autoimmune, including arteriosclerosis, the hardening of the arteries and the plaque buildup in the arteries. They now believe is an autoimmune illness. It is actually the immune system causing this situation. There is some genetic factor to it, but it just means that certain things set up and turn on the genetic factor. But you can have the genetic factor and never be activated. So I went gluten-free. Now, I, like everybody else, struggled with it at first because I had a house full of food and substances in my house that had gluten in it that I'd never paid attention to before. So I went gluten-free, and only about a few days of going gluten-free, I had my first hyperthyroid episode where my thyroid went on a tangent of I knew those symptoms. I was thrilled to death. First time in 15 years that I've had a overactive thyroid moment. And that gave me confirmation that I was on the right path. I am not well yet, and I am not fixed yet. However, I know that the gluten had something to do with that. Then I had some gluten. It slowed it down a little bit, and then I quit again. And this was, I just meant that I had a donut or something like that. I don't remember what it was. But anyway, I had something with gluten. Slowed down a little bit, but because I didn't go off the wagon completely, it kicked right back in. Right now, my thyroid is working famously well at the moment, and I've only been semi-gluten-free for about 2 weeks. Last night, I went through my pantries and I threw all of the gluten away. I have 2 more small cabinets to do. They're going to be more intensive. I have to do more research on them because it's the seasoning and spices, and I hear that that is one of the areas where there's a lot of hidden gluten in there. Also, you have to watch out with how much caramel coloring you're having, because caramel coloring can be from heated up wheat syrup, and but not always. Sometimes it can be other syrup. And so you have to be careful and mindful that even caramel coloring, if you still have symptoms after going gluten-free, the caramel coloring may still be part of the problem. I'm understanding now that there is so much hidden gluten, and this is what has set me on a path of the gluten-free. I found a Facebook page just the other day, and there on that Facebook page, like the universe is speaking to me, telling me there are now, they think, a direct correlation between Hashimoto's and the thyroiditis that I have. I mean, the gluten in the diet. So getting off gluten can reverse Hashimoto's. It's in some cases, at least it is becoming more evident. I work in the supplement and health field, and the things coming from my corporate office is that gluten-free is not going away. It is going to be a new wave that will never go back away. And it's because my corporate office has a lot of research that they already know that I haven't even seen yet, but they have it, and they know, and they're making special room for gluten-free items. They're going through and making sure that there's a GF on every tag on any supplement that I carry that is gluten-free. They are making the effort to go through and make sure and certify each supplement that they carry that is gluten-free. It'll take a while for the full conversion because they test the products and they test them very well. The other thing in there is dairy. Dairy is the second largest suspect for these conditions. Casein is the solid protein found in dairy. So that is my next step, and I have started slowly going down on the dairy intake, but I'm making one change at a time, just like when Dora said, I have to get this gluten-free down first, and I've already seen significant health improvement because of that. Now I'm going to go one step further, and I'm going to go dairy-free for a little while to see if that might not be another hidden trigger. But at this moment in time, I still have dairy in my diet to some degree. I am not putting cheese on things anymore. I have almond milk in my refrigerator right now, and I generally do soy or almond I have to be careful with soy because it can slow down my thyroid as well. It has natural glucogens in it. So I have to be careful with soy, so I've opted and always go with almond milk. But now I need to find the hidden dairy as well. And that's what I mean by, but I've significantly decreased my dairy. These are just some of the dietary changes that I'm doing. I also, like Jen, I do make my own beauty products. I make a makeup remover. I make all kinds of different things. I am also starting to do my household cleaners and stuff as well too. It's daunting of a task if you try to do everything at once, just like when Dora said. And just like Jen said too, because she was also, she made these changes. Sometimes she would backslide, some she would come. That's the reality of being human. But she has made all of her beauty supplements. She's making all these different things. It's so wonderful. And I'm not the only one. And I started that because I needed to have alternatives for my grandsons, for my daughters, for my mother, and for myself. So we are the change. We can make a revolution. Corporations are also coming around to that. And I just want to say that if my corporation has already come out with a statement to all of its employees that gluten-free is not going away, and now they are putting in plant sections, big plant sections of plant protein sources, because the casein is also on the radar, and they're looking for alternatives, and they're already putting it in to appease the next wave that's coming through, and it will be because of the dairy issue. So these are the waves of nutrition right now and the reasons why. And it's because now and more and more the research is showing that this epidemic of autoimmune illness, like I said, there's 140 others that are fixing to go autoimmune that are common conditions that people think, common heart disease, common this, common that. My mother, if you've seen my video from the Biophilic Alternative, it too talks about my mother's vascular dementia, and it comes from sleep apnea, and it comes from the fact that she's been a thyroid patient all these years. She's also autoimmune. So these things, there's so many connections, and it's all about what we're putting in our mouths. So the more natural you can go, maybe it's not just gluten, maybe it's chemicals, maybe it's all the processed food that we're doing. And that's why it's so important to go organic, to get the pesticides, the hormones, the GMOs. Oh my God, I could rant forever on GMOs and Monsanto and what they're doing to our food supply. The same makers that brought you Ancient Orange in Vietnam are messing with our food for the sole purpose to own all the seeds. That is their purpose. And there is not one of our lawmakers, not one of our politicians that haven't been in some way wrapped up in Monsanto. The Supreme Court judges, most of them have been lawyers for Monsanto for years. It didn't matter whether it's Republican or Democrat. There are so many connections to Monsanto, it's not even funny. And that's what they're doing. And they're doing it to our farmers. And they're telling people that they own all of the stuff. They own all the seed. They own everything. We have to take back our country. We have to take back our food supply. We have to take back our own health. Just like this path that we're on is an active path that we have to actually actively seek our answers and seek our own knowledge and know what's right for us. And we have to do the introspection, like Eva Marie said. There's so many things that we need to take responsibility for ourselves, and this is one of them. Our ancestors took responsibility for themselves. They planted their food. They did their harvest. This is what we celebrate when we celebrate the Wheel of the Year. It is how they did their stuff to make sure that they survived it. and lift, we've gotten lazy. We walk into a grocery store and it's all prepackaged for us, even though it's poison. We don't we don't make our gardens anymore. We don't produce our own foods. We so many people are starting to wake up and get back to these ways, and we need to, because it is our health. This is why that we're getting sick. And a pharmaceutical company does not seek to make you well. They seek only to make you well enough to where you still need that prescription and you need that medication. They probably could cure a lot of things, but they want to slow poison you too at the same time to keep you as that permanent customer. Corporations work that way. They want the money always coming in. Are there some good corporations out there? Yes, I'm sure there are some good corporations out there. But the big ones are about creating money. And you are money to them. And so you have to take back your health, and you have to take back your own decisions, and you have to understand what is good and right for your body. You need to get in tune with it when it starts acting up. My body was screaming at me to do a lot of different things. And I am finally woke up and I'm out of the brain fog that the gluten caused. So I challenge everybody to be their own change in their life. Just as you chose a pagan path for your spirituality, you are the kind of person that will take charge and take back your life in your health and your family's health. And corporations are waking up to this. They are seeing that people are empowering themselves with this information. And it is a wonderful day. This is a year of big, big changes. That Pluto-Uranus square that's been going on astrologically, that denoted it. And it's been going on for 2 years. And now it has come to its head, and it will force change if you don't do it on your own. But it can be a very positive change. Right now we're having the Neptune and Saturn square, which means Neptune, your dreams can come true. Saturn, through hard work. So that's the big moving energy now for around the next 3 years is going to be Neptune and Saturn. So that does mean that it can open up your dreams coming true with hard work. But Saturn will challenge you, and nothing's easy. Nothing worthwhile is ever easy. So go out there. I commend, and I want to say, Brenda Crozier out. She's doing an excellent job with what she's been doing and making changes. She said she's off of 3 prescriptions. That is fantastic. That is such a victory. Windora, she started the Witchy Fitness. Awesome. We can help each other out. We can give ourselves support. I've been part of her group. Jen, she's going to do those videos on the homemade items, and I'm going to join her because I told her I would VR respond to everything, and I would show her my recipes too, so that we can all be healthier and we can all do these things. It's not that difficult. But like when Dora said, if you try to do everything at once, it's difficult. But if you just make one product at a time, because when you make it, it lasts for a while. You don't have to. It's not like you have to go to the grocery store every week to buy this stuff. I can't wait for her toothpaste recipe because I don't know a good one yet. And she's been using hers for like 2 years, Jen has, in Blue August. And so I can't wait for the toothpaste recipe, actually. So y'all just go out, have a great day. I am fixing to be on Witchy Wednesday at the Witch's Lair, so you can catch me there. We're going to have our live chat in a few minutes. So I'm getting off of here, and y'all have a blessed evening. Thanks. Bye.